What we're doing in this problem is we're taking two jars that have salt solution in them. So this first jar has 15% salt solution in it, and then we're looking at another jar that has 25% salt solution in it. And then we're going to add the liquid in both the jars. We're going to mix them together, and what we have is we have a bigger jar with 21% salt solution in it. The other extra information we have is that we know that the final jar has 200 liters in volume, but we don't know how many liters are in these two jars, and the goal of the question is to find that. So I'm going to start by defining a variable. I'm going to say let x be the number of liters of the 15% solution that we need. This immediately tells us that if you need x liters over here, and if the total is 200 liters, then that means that the 25% solution will be 200 minus x liters. And so I know that the number of liters of the 25% solution that we need is 200 minus x. Okay, so now we've looked at the volume of the solution. The other thing that we can consider is, what does this 15% mean? It means that of the total amount of solution that you take, 15% is salt, and similarly in the second solution 25% is salt, and so the total solution will have 21% salt. We're going to take all these numbers and put them in an equation. So 15% of salt is 0.15, and since it's x liters, 0.15 times x is the amount of salt in the first solution. The amount of salt that comes from the second solution is 25%, right? So 0.25 times 200 minus x, since that's the volume of the solution, and the total amount is 200 liters, but all 200 of the liters are not salt, it's just 21% of that, so it's 200 times 0.21. This equation that I wrote down is keeping in mind the amount of salt in all the solutions. This is great because now I actually have an equation in x that I just need to solve in order to find out its value. Okay, so I start with, as usual, first opening all the parentheses. So I have 0.15x. Now 0.25, I need to multiply it to both the numbers inside the parentheses. So 0.25 times 200 is a quarter of 200, so that's 50, and 0.25 times negative x is negative 0.25x. On the right hand side, 200 times 0.21 is equal to 42. Now, as usual, what we do is we take all the numbers that have x, all the terms that have x on the same side, and any term that does not involve x, I'm going to take it over to the other side. So I'm going to remedy this by taking the 50 and subtracting 50 from both sides of the equation. And so now I have 0.15x minus 0.25x is negative 0.10x. And when I subtract 50 from the left hand side, these cancel. But when I add 50 to the other side, when I subtract 50 from the other side, I get 42 minus 50. So I get negative 0.10x. 42 minus 50 is negative 8. Now the next thing I need to do in order to find the value of x is divide both the sides of the equation by negative 0.10. On the left hand side of the equation, I'm able to cancel. On the right hand side of the equation, I can cancel the negative signs. And once again, to find the value of x, you have 8 over 0.10. You can either find this value using your calculator, or what I like to do is this little trick where I try to convert the denominator to 1. In order to do that, I need to multiply the denominator by 10. And so I also multiply the numerator by 10, so I get 80 over 1. Again, you can use your calculator for this. This is just a trick for those of you who want to do this mentally. So I have x equals 80, which means I need to take 80 liters of the 15% solution. This also readily tells me that since I needed 200 minus x liters of the other solution, that's going to be 200 minus 80, which is 120. So I need 120 liters of the 25% solution. And that's your answer.